Hi guys, it's Kendall. I'm here filming a Sunday video for you, and I thought I would talk about my battle with anxiety. So it's really hot here and I don't have the fan on, so makeup may be running down my face at the end of this video, but let's just get right into it. I've struggled with anxiety probably all my life, even when I was really little. It wasn't too bad when I was little, like I want to say from the age of 13 and down, like, so right when I was very little. I was a shy kid, and I didn't have a lot of friends or anything like that. I wouldn't go anywhere by myself. I wouldn't go pay for things at the store by myself alone. I would make my sister go up for me and stuff like that. But that was it for anxiety when I was a kid. Around 13 to 15, I want to say, it got worse, but not in the sense, like, not in the way it is now. I was very intrigued by the internet at that time. I would stay online for numerous hours a day, like so long, and at this point I had made some friends in my neighborhood, and I had 10 or so friends that I would hang out with regularly, and they just lived down the street from me, a couple houses, so I made some friends, and this was around grade 6 to, I want to say, grade 8. So during middle school. I had a very hard time, and I don't know if this was because of what happened with my dad and his passing away or what, but it got worse. Like, not in a social sense, like I got better in that sense. I was obsessed with online, Facebook, MySpace, YouTube, MSN, like all the things that were really popular when I was 13. It got to the point where I wouldn't go outside, I wouldn't see my friends. Like, they'd ask me to come over, to come outside and play, like play outside, hang out outside, go somewhere, go to the mall, go to the park, things like that, and I just wouldn't go outside, and I wouldn't do anything with my friends or my family. I would just sit inside online all day. So it got to the point where my mom took away the computer, and it was between these ages that I also, well, probably when I was younger as well, but I had very, very bad anger issues. So bad, like I would just hurt my friends and my family and the people I loved, and I would throw things, and I would shove things off tables, and I would break things, and it was very, very bad, and I feel bad about it now. When I look back on it, I'm like, that I was a terrible person then. I had very, very bad anger issues, as I said. My mom took away the computer so I would do something, but this led to me getting like very upset and very angry, and I locked myself in her room with her and didn't let her out until she gave the computer back. I don't know if the anger was from anxiety or what it was from, but I just had really bad anger issues. But by the time I turned 15, everything kind of settled down, and I wasn't as mean or angry anymore with my life or anything in general. And I kind of settled down when I started high school. I was still very shy and wouldn't do much on my own, but I didn't have the anger that I did before. So I went through high school fine, I graduated, and the last year of school I moved in with my boyfriend. And that was a very big change for me, and It was very difficult. I'm not one for change, and I don't like change too much, so it was a very difficult transition for me. It got better over time, but making food and eating in front of people was not easy, and it still is not easy for me whatsoever. That is one of my anxieties that I still struggle with, and I have no idea why. I just do. I moved in with him, and at this point I was about 19. And I've been out of school, and I started looking for work. And I started working at a convenience store when I was around 16. So I had gone back to that. I started working again at the convenience store, and it was kind of good because it got me out there. It gave me social skills and communication skills with the public, and I think it was very good for my anxiety at that point. After that, a dealer came in, so everyone at the convenience store was let go, and he hired all new staff. So I was left looking for a job, and my brother had started working at a thrift store, so I applied at the same thrift store and I got hired. I was working customer service, and my brother was there, so I could take breaks with him and stuff like that, and it was less awkward and less anxiety on me. So I was around 20 at this point in my life, and around December, around Christmas time, the people I was living with, my boyfriend and his family, they got the flu. I don't throw up, and I haven't in a very long time, and so I just thought I had the flu, and I was going to the bathroom quite often. So I thought I had the flu, and it happened at work, and it was very embarrassing because the bathroom was in the break room, and there were sounds and smells, I'm sure, when I came out of that bathroom, and there was 2 of my co-workers in there, and I was just very embarrassed. And I thought I still had the flu. So I went to my boss. I told her that I thought I was still sick. So she let me go home, and the bus stop that I caught to go home was fortunately at the mall, and there was a bathroom there. So I went to the bathroom because I felt the need, but nothing happened. And so I went home. So at this point, this was the first time I'd experienced this with an upset stomach and going to the bathroom quite often, and it got to the point where I would lie in bed and I wouldn't do anything, and I would just cry, and I didn't really tell anybody how I was feeling or how horrible I felt or how bad it was or how, like, what my mental state was. I took a leave from work because it was to the point where I couldn't do my job. I couldn't focus, I just couldn't do anything. So I took a leave from work, and I eventually decided to hand in my letter of resignation there. And so that led me to have no job, and it was probably a year that I had no job, no work, and I just tried to eat better. I drank smoothies, I ate oatmeal, I just kind of did my own thing. I also tried lots of diets, so I tried no dairy and no lactose, I tried no gluten, I tried nothing with seeds or skins, since diverticulitis, which is a form of like a digestion issue which causes this to happen, runs in my family. So I tried those, and I got lots of blood work done, lots of samples taken and tests. I had an MRI of my whole body inside, and nothing was wrong. This first time it happened, I had lost 30 pounds with going to the bathroom so many times a day. At the least amount of times was probably 4 times a day. At the most, it was probably over 12 times. I had lost a lot of weight, and it was hard. Like, obviously I gained all that weight back, and probably then some, because it was just like anxiety and probably water weight, and just from not being healthy. I was so very unhealthy at this time with how I ate and the things I drank. So I changed my diet, like I said, to eating more oatmeal with fruit in it, just plain oatmeal with fruit. I would add brown sugar if I wanted, rice milk, no dairy. I would at the minimum drink at least 1.5 liters of water, and I still do that today. And it was just really hard and difficult because everybody saw that I was unwell, and there was nothing they could do to help me. I would cry all the time, like uncontrollable cry, not even because I was sad or upset. I just wanted this to stop. I wanted to feel normal again and healthy again. So after a year or so, I was looking for jobs, and I went to interviews, and everything was fine. Like, I didn't get upset stomachs, I didn't get anxiety like I did. I felt nothing, and I felt normal and happy going to these interviews and excited. So eventually I got hired at a grocery store, the same one my boyfriend works at. I did a phone interview and I was hired. So 3 days passed and I'm fine, 4 days and I'm fine, but it's getting closer and closer to the day that I'm supposed to start orientation and working at this place. It started happening again, and I call it my problem. That's what I would call it, my problem. And I started going to the bathroom again so many times a day, and this time it was so much worse. Like, I just wanted to feel better, and I didn't want this to happen anymore. And it got so bad that I just laid in bed and cried and cried and cried. I would not get out of bed. I would not eat anything. I would not drink anything. I didn't want to be living in the place I was living. I didn't want to be at my boyfriend's house. It was so bad. I didn't want to bother him with this, because he would get upset and frustrated that he couldn't help me or do anything to make me feel better. That led to me going and staying with my mom for a few days. And this was the day before I was supposed to go to my job and start working. We'll start orientation. So I left, and it was probably like 4 o'clock in the morning the day before, or a couple days before I was supposed to start. And I just packed a bunch of stuff in my bag and my purse, like my laptop and stuff, and I just went to my mom's house. I went and laid in her bed, and I didn't get out of it till the day I had to get up and start orientation. I didn't eat, I could barely sleep, so I got up and I felt horrible, and I went to orientation, and I was hired with 2 other people, 2 other girls, and we were in this room for orientation. It was a small room. So I sat in this room for orientation, and we watched videos the whole day. It was just videos and paperwork and that kind of thing, and I was just sweating the whole time because I was feeling so sick. Like, I literally felt like sick, like throwing up sick, but I wasn't. I wasn't sick, I didn't have the flu, but I just felt that way. I didn't go to the bathroom all that day, luckily, but since I didn't, I felt so bad, and I was sweating, and I didn't eat, and I tried to drink water, but nothing really calmed me down, and it was so terrible, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to handle this. and I probably handled it very, very poorly, because after that day I went back to my mom's and I stayed at her house, and I talked to the owner of the store as well, and she said she worked out a deal with me, but she said if you can't do it, just call. And so the next day I called and I was like, I can't do this. I didn't want to feel that way. I didn't want to put my body through that and be sick like that. And again, through this period, which was much shorter than last time, I again lost 30 pounds or so, and again, just from going to the bathroom, not eating, not drinking, not keeping up with my health, because I felt so horrible. I just didn't know what to do. I was lost. I couldn't work. I didn't want to be at the house with my boyfriend. And I went back and I tried to sleep there, and I just couldn't sleep there, and I couldn't do anything. So I went to my mom's, and my friend gave me this pill, and I took it, and I slept. I just slept so peacefully, without waking up, without feeling terrible. I just slept, and it was great. At this point, I decided to make an appointment with my doctor to talk about anxiety, and she referred me to a counselor that I went and saw, and she is not a paid counselor, so she couldn't for sure diagnose me, but she said that I probably have social or general anxiety. So I went back with my doctor, with my sister. She came as well because she too suffers with anxiety, although it is much different than mine. Like, mine was crippling, and I just don't wish that feeling upon anybody. Or if you hear the fan, but it is just too hot today not to have a fan on, but hopefully it's not too loud or too annoying. We talked about different things, and it was very hard because I never told anybody how I felt. Like, I never told them the thoughts I had about suicide or anything like this. It was very difficult because I did think about suicide the times that I struggled with my problem, as I called it. But what never led me to take any action on those thoughts was thinking of the problems it would cause. Like, although your problem is fixed and you don't have anxiety anymore, and you don't have thoughts of anxiety or suicide or any of those feelings, because they're gone, it leaves other people with those feelings and probably feelings of regret. And I didn't want to die just so my problems could be transferred on to other people. Like, I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but even if my pain and suffering was gone, other people would have the pain and suffering, which kept me from taking any action. But I don't even know how many times, like, I can't tell you how many times I sat there and thought, like, I could just take a bunch of pills. I could just, go drown in a lake or something. Like, it was terrible the way my anxiety was. And when I talked to my doctor, and the things I told her and the things my sister had to tell her, it was very, very difficult. And I'm sure nobody wants to go through that with a family member. Nobody wants to hear their other family member say these types of things, or say the types of things that my sister was saying. But I needed help. I decided on medication, because also at this time that I started talking with my doctor, I was also looking for an apartment. Me and my boyfriend were looking for an apartment to move out, as his mom also wanted to move, so to go our separate ways. And at this time I was 21, and the stress of moving and change and stuff like that was so hard because I don't like change, and all these things were running through my mind. I got paranoid about bugs in my house, like in the apartment I live at now, because I didn't start my medication till about 2 or 3 months after we moved into this apartment is when I went to my doctor and we decided, yes, I want to take the medication. So moving was very hard and mentally on me. It was just, I can't explain how I felt in the times where my anxiety was so bad, but I just felt sick and drained, and I couldn't function. My doctor started me on citalopram 20 milligrams, which is, I guess, the lowest dose or something that you can start on. So she started me on 20 milligrams, and it was helping, but not that great. Like, I was starting to feel better, but I still had like paranoia in my mind, and of course that's always going to be there unless I get therapy, which I have chose not to do, and that's my decision, because I find that the medication I'm on now, which is citalopram but 40 milligrams, so that's the highest dose, and I take one of those every day. I have them right here, and I take these every day, once a day, for maybe the rest of my life, maybe not the rest of my life. My doctor did talk to me about them, and if I ever get pregnant or decide to get pregnant, they're fine, and they obviously are addictive, so I'd have to come off them slowly, that kind of thing, but they're fine if I ever get pregnant or anything like that. I find they help me so much. They don't make me feel any different than before I had my problem, or when my anxiety was really bad. They don't make me feel high or anything like that. They work different for everyone, is what my doctor told me. There are side effects, like with any medication, which I haven't experienced except for a late period, which isn't on the side effect sheet, but I looked it up online, and some people who also take citalopram have found that it made their period late as well. So that's the only thing it's given me. It doesn't give me bad acne or anything like that. It didn't make me gain weight or anything, but it works different for everybody, my doctor told me. So it can either make you feel sleepy or it can make you feel awake. So I started taking them at 12, but I found they made me feel a bit drowsy. So now I take them every day at 8 p.m. and I keep them in a container with Sunday to Saturday on it. So I remember to take it every day, and I've set an alarm on my phone, so I took it at the same time every day, give or take an hour to half an hour, because sometimes I might be out on errands or at my mom's or just busy around the house that I don't take it right away, but I always take it. It doesn't make me feel different. Like I said, it doesn't make me feel high. I don't feel like I depend on it. I don't feel the need to take more than I do. So I don't abuse it, and I've never abused any pills or any drugs for that matter. This is the only pill I take. I try not to even take Advil or Tylenol or anything like that. Like on the rare occasion where I have a really bad migraine or body pain, let's say, and it's hard for me to sleep, I will take a Tylenol or Advil. I try not to take Midol either, but I still have it just in case where I do. I try to not drink as much caffeine with these pills, so I try to limit my coffee to 1 a day at the max, sometimes 2, depending if I go out with my mom or go over to her house. I might have a coffee again later in the day, but I try and limit my caffeine. I try and eat well. It's the only pill I take, and I find it works for me. Of course, you still have bad days and days where your anxiety is peaked up or spiked up, like higher than normal. But I don't feel like I did before. I have never felt that way again. It works for me. I don't have the anxiety like I did, but of course I still struggle with anxiety because I do not go to therapy, but therapy and medication can help with eliminating your anxiety or getting rid of it, or helping you to cope with it much better. But I don't use therapy, I just use the medication and my own ways of coping. So I work out and I eat better, and I try and see my family at least on a weekly basis, since I don't live too far from them and we are a very close family. It helps me to get out of the house, and I like that. I like not being at home all the time. I like going out and doing stuff, even if it's just going for a walk, going to the store, going to get a coffee with my boyfriend, or an ice cream, or whatever we do, like a little date day, just going, looking out at stores, taking the bus, anything to get me out of the house where I feel that I've gotten out of the house for a good amount of time. And I try and do that about three times a week, I want to say, because I also am a homebody. Like, I'm still very introverted, and I have been my whole life. As I said, from when I was a kid to now, I'm still shy when I meet new people. I still have a hard time going places alone, but I feel like I'm me again. There's still days where I feel down and out of it with anxiety, but not to the debilitating point, like the crippling point that I did before. But that's kind of all I have to say. I might redo it. We'll see, but that's all I have to say for now. So links to my last Sunday video and other places you can find me will be down below. Or if you're on mobile, you can always click the I, or the end card if you're on a laptop or computer. But again, links are down below of other places you can find me. My other latest vlog and Sunday video will be down below. And I'll see you guys next time.